Hello there, sorry, there is clearly a clock in my house that is very, very wrong. I thought I still had a few minutes to go. Oh God, that light is bright. 1 second, let me just adjust something. Forgot about this. I adjusted this earlier for something else. It's on 100%. Doesn't need to be on 100%. We need to take that down. We need to take that right down. Just noticed that. That's better. Sorry about that. That was that light was blasting at me from above, and I'm thinking, no. And I do have a remote for it, but the batteries are flat. So anyway, there's clearly a clock in my house that is very, very wrong, because I came up and I thought, I got my cup of tea, everything's okay, that's fine. Couple of minutes to go, and looked at the clock and went, what? 4 minutes past? How can it be 4 minutes past? That's ridiculous. So, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to the stream. Now, I've been away this week, so you may have wondered why the channel's been a bit quiet, because I've been away. I took a few days out. It happens. These things happen from time to time. But it has also been a very busy week. It's been a very busy day, because alongside a number of other things that I did manage to squeeze in that quick video on the Inspire 2 today, I have had a few deliveries, and one of those deliveries, and let me find the right button, is there. So what happens then is I do that and I lose audio because I haven't even prepped that. Right, what we'll do instead is to show you it that way. There you go. It's up in the corner. The Bambu X1 Carbon. That came in this week. I haven't got the right audio profile set on that other thing. That's what's causing it to do that. That's my fault. I forgot to make the change. There's so much like this live streaming nonsense. Whose idea was this live streaming nonsense? Right, where is it? Rodecaster Pro. Copy that. 1 sec. There you go. You got audio now. There, so you can now see it full blast, and it is just there. And had to triple the volume on your stream. Shouldn't be any different. YouTube is YouTube. My levels on my side should be correct. I don't know why Bardwell's would be much, much louder. YouTube is YouTube. There should be no difference. We go into YouTube at the same level as everyone else. So, yeah. So anyway, we had the X1 has arrived. And I will say this, okay, about that printer. You might have heard of it, and you might have heard that it's fast. Until you see that thing in action, I promise you, it is astonishing just how fast it can be. Now, it isn't printing at that super speed all of the time, but it is incredible just how fast it is. And yeah, I'm actually tempted. There is no inbuilt compressor on YouTube. Not true. Compressor has nothing to do with it. A compressor drags everything in together. Volume goes in at the same amount. I go into it at the same level as anyone else goes into it. Compression is bugger all to do with volume. Compression is squeezing the audio into a tighter area rather than it being lots of high and lots of low. You're dragging it all into a much smaller space. Compression is forcing it in. It doesn't affect volume. Now, it is possible Bardwell is pumping a lot higher, but I'm at the level that YouTube recommends. That's what I can tell you I'm at. So, yeah, the X1 Carbon is a very impressive piece of gear. I'm not going to refrain on what Bardwell is pumping. Yeah, so, anyway, the X1 has arrived. As a live stream on, why doesn't it play from the waiting? It does weird stuff, YouTube. So, the X1 has arrived. You can see it there in the corner. I'm tempted to do a live benchy just to show you, for those who haven't seen, just to show you how fast it is. I'm tempted to put a live benchy on in that corner. My only concern is how loud it will be. I will say it's not the quietest of printers, but my God, is it fast. Okay, let's do it then, shall we? Let's do a live benchy. Right, now this is a benchy by their own settings. So let me just... It does have the AMS on the top as well. Yes, it does. Let's do a live benchy. So we'll do their pre-printed one, which is nice and easy. So what I'm going to do, we'll open the door. Okay, so I've told it to print. Now, it spends about 5 minutes messing with itself before it actually gets ready to go. So we're going to turn on webcam 1, and we're going to wait. Yeah. All I can tell you is I go into YouTube at the level YouTube asks me to. If you want me to turn compression up, I can turn compression up. I don't care. Frankly, I really don't care what Bardwell sounds like. It doesn't affect me. Not my problem. Now, this week has been an interesting week because, and you can hear it in the background, you can see it in the background. We'll watch what that camera does. What's actually incredible is just how fast it kicks off, but we'll see it in a minute. But yeah, we've had an interesting week, and one of the big things this week has been around HDZero, and I wasn't going to bring this up, but as Carl has now put out a post, we are going to talk a little bit about it, about the HDZero goggles, and two things. Number one, there's been a firmware update, which is resolving, hopefully, for most people, the issues around analog performance. But then we also have the new issue is a term I'll use, that some of the new goggles appear to be coming with the loose optics adjustment system. Now, we'll take a look at mine under the overhead as well in a minute. Now, mine are batch 1. Mine don't have this problem. But we're going to talk a bit about that. We will also talk a bit about the Inspire 3. I have put a video out on that earlier, but we will talk about that as well. As I said, I don't know how much you can hear it. It isn't quiet. That I can promise you. But wait till it starts going. And we'll also talk about anything else you want to talk about as well as we move through. If you want to have any super chats, if there's anything you want to know, please do put it in the comment section and I will try and answer it as well. I do have the chat up on the screen. The latest firmware seems to have issues with PAL analog. For the most solid version is NTC. Yeah, we're going to have to see. W1 Willy 1 FPV, screens are loose in the goggles. I don't imagine the screens are loose. Right. Now, the way the HDZero goggles work is the screens move for focus. The big difference on the HDZeros compared to, say, the DJIs is not the lens that moves, it's the screen. But we will talk about that as well. I've not seen it on batch 1s. Apparently, someone has mentioned it on batch 1s, but I've not seen it. I think, look, as we're on it, we'll go on. It is a QA issue. It will be resolved. Now, Carl has put his post up about it, so the best thing we can do is take a look at Carl's post, because Carl has put one up on the HDZero group. And if I just search for Carl, Carl's you. Now, he has put something up about it, and I wasn't going to talk about it specifically. Now, what I'm going to do is go to the desktop, but you're going to be on the wrong screen, so I need to turn that one off, and then we will be there. And then we probably need to turn that on, so I'm there as well. So, Carl's put this post up, okay? And if we just make it bigger, because it is very, very small. Carl has said, there has been about 30 complaints of loose lens issue on HDZero goggle. I do understand the goggle is a big investment and he will take care of it. The optics supplier suggests our repair centre should not try to fix it because of the complexity and environment clear air requirement of opening the optic. So it does seem that you have to open the optic to resolve it. If this is a problem that bothers you so much, please ship it to us now and we will get it fixed and ship it to you back ASAP. But it will take longer time if it needs to be fixed by optics supplier in China for now. So, it's clear something has changed or gone wrong on the optics side of things. Now, just to show you mine on the overhead, or not, why is my overhead not working? There it is. Mine are not particularly loose. So if I look at my knobs, they wobble a little bit, and the plates below will wobble a little bit, but they're not loose to turn, right? They can turn. I can adjust them, but they're not loose, and it's neither that loose if I move it side by side. What mine certainly are not doing is moving, and whilst there is a little bit of movement like that, that really isn't reflected on the lenses. The only time I get movement is when I actually move it and I can physically feel a click. Now, some people are saying that when they move them, they can move the goggles up and down, so they're tilting, the lens physically is moving, or the focus point is moving inside. Now, for them to be that loose would imply to me that there's a tolerance issue or something like that. The real important thing to understand, though, is he's gonna get it sorted out. Now, there are two ways to look at this. Okay, this is the first set of goggles HDZero have made, so there's gonna be issues. It's doing its calibration at the moment. It's vibrating right now. Can you hear that? It's just going up through the... because it's doing the full calibration stage. It's like a 23-minute benchy, but it spends 10 minutes, I'm thinking. But yeah, at the moment, something has changed. Now, there is a real argument to be said. This should have been picked up before the goggles were shipped out. That is a very fair comment. I can't argue with that personally. Even if something changed, something should have been spotted before they made it into customers' hands. But look, that's a learning curve for Carl, and that's a learning curve for them to understand moving forward. They're not a hardware manufacturer. They are predominantly an ASIC manufacturer, and they're having to learn all of this hardware stuff. So, at the end of the day, it's not ideal, but what I can say, knowing Carl as much as I do, he will solve this. If you've got a problem, there is no point whinging about it online. Open a ticket. Open a ticket, get it resolved. Either wait or send them back. That's the two simple options right now. It's not going to fix itself. That's for sure. We don't know exactly what the cause is. Hopefully, steps will be put in place to pick this stuff up before it happens in future. The printer's going to start moving in a minute. You really have to, though, put it in HDZero's hands. I'm guessing we will understand more as time goes on. Carl has always been very open about his problems, and I don't see him being any different here. Geordie has said, if you've got a problem and no one else can help, call the A-team. The printer's getting ready. It's not quite there yet. Have I 3D printed you an Inspire 3 yet? Not yet, Sean. But yeah, so, look, The reality is this. There are some goggles that appear to have loose lenses. It doesn't appear to affect all of them. We don't know exactly what the cause is. All we know is... and she's off. Now, this, at times, it's even hard to show you this on camera, just how bloody fast it is. It's done the bottom layer, and it's doing its bottom layer checks now. And now it's going to start really banging it out. But, yeah, it isn't ideal. I do think Carl's team probably have some learning on this one of what checks are done before things go out. But at the end of the day, it will be fixed. Will the lens issue be fixed before batch 3 goggles goes out? I don't know. Look, I can't answer. It's not for me to say. They know about it now. They are resolving it now. That's all I can tell you. Okay. If you've ordered a set, I would not be worried a minute. Continue. Let's see what happens. They will fix it. They will get it fixed. Carl is outstanding. Now, there are going to be people unhappy. Look, I am someone who heavily recommended this goggle, so I'm going to take some noise for that, and I understand that. Look, at the end of the day, all products have issues. It's important to remember that. Hell, let's go back to the HD. Let's go back to Fat Shark. They have HDMI boards that fail. The Avatar HD system was alpha when they released it. So, look, Carl has had some hardware issues here and there, but they will get it solved. And, look, I'll be honest, I don't even class the SMA thing as a hardware issue. That only happened if you dropped them. And I had a very simple answer to that. Don't bloody drop them. I don't really class the SMA thing as an issue. That was just a improvement to help it if people did drop their goggle or hit the SMAs. I still think you would have had to whack them bloody hard to cause damage based on what I've seen. They're soldered at 4 points either side. But Carl will get it sorted, and it's a measure of the man for the statement that he put out as well. But look, so here and now, if you've got a batch on order, I wouldn't worry about it. Just wait and see what happens. They will get it sorted. I don't know what you're saying because you're watching the printer print. Yes, you're now seeing the printer. Let me go to full screen a minute. It is hard to really describe just how fast this printer is with a Benchy. It is just incredible. You're watching that Benchy grow out of that bed. Now, I would show you the built-in... I would show you the built-in camera, but it can't keep up. It just can't keep up with what you're seeing here. It's just incredible. It is just nuts. And if you look at how much time it took to actually get ready to print. But we'll have a look at that Benchy in a minute. Had to fix it myself. Oh, that's crazy. That's look, you're going to get issues. So with the HDZero goggles, okay, here and now, we're going to have to wait and see. If you've got a set on order, though, my advice would be hold on. Look, don't worry. Carl will get it sorted. What I will say is I really do feel for Carl, genuinely, just for the guy to catch a break. Just for the guy to catch a break. I really do. You know, he has built the impossible here. And he is trying. And look, there is irony. And this moves us nicely onto the new firmware, because there is new firmware for the HDZero goggle out as well, which resolves a number of issues, including improving the analog bay performance. And there is irony in the fact that he's having to spend so much time on his digital goggle fixing the analog performance. But let's be open here. This is the only digital goggle that can do analog. And what Carl is trying to do is almost impossible. It is created a product from day one that has everything most people have asked for. Analog input, digital HDMI in, HDMI out. Remember what was said by Greg at Fat Shark. You can't have both. Well, you can. You can on these. So yes, look, there are some firmware issues. There are a few hardware issues, but they will get there. And these are going to be, when they are sorted, and when all of them are like mine, they are going to be the best goggle overall you can get. It really is as simple as that. So, look, but I also have to be fair, and I have to look at this. Look, if this was DJI, I would be ripping them a new asshole right now. If this was Avatar, I would try to be as fair as I am to HDZero. You have to understand, we can't say exactly the same things. You expect to have the same the same expectations on Carl and HDZero as you would DJI, simply because of the resources available. But they will get there. But the new firmware is out, and it does solve for some people the analog performance. 1080p 30 is still not working, unfortunately. They're getting there, but it's still not there yet. And there is a lot of other tweaks that they're doing as well. But they have added the real-time battery mod is now in, so you can now add the battery in the goggles, so the clock now works. And they've done a number of little tweaks and improvements as well overall. Now, that really is everything there is to say on HDZero a minute. That's about as much as I can really say and add to it. It's not really for me to go into what's going to happen where and when, but I really do think about that's pretty much it. Now, yeah, the printer is loud. That is distracting. We're going to go to full screen for a few minutes until it... that is distracting. Now, we're just going to... Can't just eye off the printer. Now, just to show you, we're getting there. How fast it is. Live benchy. It is bloody fast. Right, I don't know for this print. See, this is the Bambu print test print. So this is everything maxed out. This, look, you're not going to realistically print at this level all of the time. This is like I'm printing a benchy in their high speed mode, which is 17 minutes, I think it is. And we'll take a look at how it goes. Nah, all YouTube influencers ignore all issues. To me, HDZero is a crap product. Then that's great, Nana. If you think it's crap, then don't buy it. This is the great thing today. Number one, no one ignores the issues. I have always highlighted HDZero's issues. I have always highlighted DJI's. And I have always highlighted Avatars. What I am saying to you is this. You cannot hold HDZero to the same standards as you would hold DJI. It's really that simple. If you don't like HDZero, buy DJI. If you don't want DJI, buy Avatar. The amazing thing today about digital FPV is you have a choice of 3 systems. You could argue you have a choice of 4 with the 2 DJI systems. There is tons of choice. Don't worry about one that doesn't suit you. Choose the other one. It's that simple. That's the reality today. There is something for everyone right now. It really is that simple. It really is that simple. So, that's it. Now, on FPV goggles this week, there was another release, but it isn't a release. And I'm going to go to Sky Zone. Skyzone FPV. Because Skyzone have released another set of goggles, but they haven't. Skyzone have added something called the 04... Oh, what are they called? They're now called... I've even lost track of what they're bloody called. New in. Let's have a look on the desktop. 040. New Skyzone 040 goggles. Now, let's be clear. These are not new. They are the eSheen goggles now sold under Skyzone. Skyzone always made them for eSheen, but they're now selling them under Skyzone. They have 1024 by 768 OLED screens, 60 frames a second DVR, and all the usual nonsense, basically. But they aren't really a new goggle. They are literally just the eSheen goggle now being sold under the Skyzone brand. Whereas before, Skyzone only sold the 04X and the 04Ls. They're now selling the 04X, 04Ls, and 04Os, or 040s, I should say, to the marketplace, and they're available there. Now, they're not particularly great. They're just another goggle. Right, let's go back to the printer a second and take a look at what it's doing. We're getting there. It is getting there now. It is fast. It is very, very fast. So they're the same as the 04X? No, they have a lower resolution displays. So the 04Xs have the 04Xs have 1280 by 960. And these have 1024 by 768. Slightly lower. Is that the Bambu? Yes, it is, Bobby. How fast is it going? I don't know the speed. Just that it's fast. Is that a live time lapse of that printer? It's a live view of the printer. She's nearly there. How fast is it going? Yes, that is the answer. It is in ludicrous mode. If we go to full screen. He's pre-recorded it and bumped it to ×4. I wish I had. It's it's moving. It is incredible. It really is incredible. So she's still going. She'll be finished in a few minutes. Now, that really is most of the news on FPV goggles this week. However, I do want to talk about one thing. And this is just something that I was asked about a bit on the channel. And I don't really understand where the misunderstanding on this has gone or anything like that. But the DJI FPV system obviously has the spectator mode, and I've got a video coming on this hopefully in the next few days. And there's been a bit of confusion about the spectator mode on 03 compared to the original FPV system. And as I understand it, right now, there is no difference in the spectator mode between the original FPV system and the new 03 system. The overall performance and the way it works is exactly the same. There is literally no change at all, as I understand it. Now, there has been some people asking, or there's been a comment I think JB made about it working differently, and I've not seen any evidence of that. I've not been told anything by DJI, and I can't find anything in the spec. It still transmits from the ear unit to the goggles, and it does that to both goggles. And whilst there might be some communication between the two sets of goggles, there isn't anything specifically different. And in my tests, the spectator mode on O3 is exactly the same as it was on the original system. Now, the O3 system can spectate between the V2s and the goggles 2 when all in O3 mode. You can spectate with V2 and goggles 2, V2 and Integra, or goggles 2 and Integra whilst in O3 mode. What you can't do is spectate between the DIY modes. So you have to go back to that original mode to spectate and not that new mode, which you can't do on the goggles 2. Goggles 2 can't spectate vistas. Yeah, they can only spectate if it's on the O3 firmware. That's the very basics to it. Question. Is the difference between flavors of O3 hardware or only software or a mix? If we look at O3, I believe it is software. But there are some lines in the sand in that, and we'll talk about that in a minute, Luis. There are some hardware differences. For instance, the original FPV system doesn't have the Eagle chipset, whereas the new one does. So that's a hardware difference. But if we look at, here's something interesting, O3 Pro, and I know where you're going on this. I have looked at the internals for one of the O3 Pro transmitters, and it is basically O3. I can't see any difference. What I think they're doing with O3 Pro is giving up latency for improved stability and increased resolution. That's what I think they're doing. So if we think about this, they're on O3, they're pumping through, 1080p in theory on O3 ear unit at 100 frames a second at 30 milliseconds. If they give up latency, they are then able to push more data through that pipeline. And that is what I think they're doing. I actually don't think O3 Pro is technically a hardware difference. I think they're using the same ingredients. They're just using them in different quantities. They're just balancing things differently. That's what I believe they're doing. For instance, O3 Pro tends to have about 100 milliseconds of latency. O3 Pro is on the Inspire 3. O3 Pro is with the DJI transmission system as well. And O3 Pro. And it's done. Live Benchy. Should we go grab? And just to prove this is live, we're going to leave that camera. Okay. So, she's done. Now, let me just zoom in. Now, what you will notice is there is, on this filament, some slight colouring difference on the bow down here. Now, this is because of the print speed and temperatures with the layers. So if you look, it's a bit matter up here, and then it goes colour down there. But ignore this and look at everything else. That is the print quality of the Bambu, the bottom layer. No stringing. It's just astonishing. It really, really is. Literally, the only thing you can complain about is that coloration. But that's like really hard to solve. That's the filament, the speed, and the layer difference. It's just, because what you're getting is a different speed to the floor level in the boat, and then that causes a discoloration. You often see this in filaments black, predominantly. Other words on the stem readable. Let me just zoom the camera so you can see. Not really. That's just showing you the colour. But just to show you everything else. Put the autofocus on. There you go. So, that is the Bambu. Now I'm going to turn it off. I can hear now. Not one string. No. Yeah, this was a speed run. As Morton Upshot said, printing outside perimeter first helps a little, but it takes more time, and this was a speed run. Yeah, 100%. Look, you can stop that stuff. You just got to change your print. And look, I've got that on other. You tend to. I had that with the Sonic Pad on one of the prints on that as well. Very fast printing, especially that you get the color change on the outside layers. But yeah, just to give you that, it's just incredible. Nothing prepares you for just how fast that printer is until you see it. And we'll talk about the printer a bit more in a minute. I'm going to pull my arms up because I'm getting hot now. So, okay. So, on 03, yeah, I think it's hardware. Not a lot has changed. This will be the most back and forth stream we've had, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah, but I don't think there's a lot of hardware difference. So, on the goggles, SkyZone have done them, but again, what's interesting is their write-up is wrong because their write-up is for the 04X, but what they've basically done is rebranded the eSheen and they're selling them under their own brand. What I suspect has happened is eSheen have either not sold a load of them or they've just not ordered more and they've got screens left and SkyZone have decided to sell them themselves. I don't know how well an analog goggle is going to sell today. They're selling them for $345, pounds, actually, which will probably be dollars. Can't imagine them being that cheap. So, yes, it is the X1 Carbon with the MMU on the top. A Neptune 3 Pro will print about as well with no stringing, but just takes 3 times long. And look, I'll be honest, this printer, look, the modified S1 over there with the Sonic Pad is bloody quick. It's not that quick, but it's quick. I have done sub half an hour benchies on it. But yeah, it's impressive. And I did something earlier. These are 2 test prints I did earlier. This was a color change test print just to do a test with the AMS. Just to show you on 2 different PLA filaments. And I printed this little unicorn for my daughter as well, just as a quick test. But I'm going to be doing a bit. I now need to get to grips with the AMS and understanding all of that stuff. Yeah, and a Core XY is just dramatically faster. I tell you what's quite impressive. I will say what is quite impressive is the S1 with the Sonic Pad as a bed slinger on full pace. It's crazy. It's crazy. So anyway, we'll come back onto the printers. We're going to leave the printers there till the end. Right. So that's that. Now, someone mentioned it earlier, and I do want to mention this as well, because I am a bit of a fan of them, and that is there is a new Radix available from Brain FPV. Now, if people don't know who Brain FPV are, they're an American manufacturer of flight controllers, and they have finally released a new version of the Radix, and it is called the Radix 2 HD. I have a Radix in one of my quads. I've always been a bit of a fan of the Brain FPV ones. And yeah, there is a new digital version which removes the OSD chip and is now digital only. Now, one of the big benefits of the Radix on the Brain FPV controllers was their custom OSD, but obviously you're not going to get that on the digital one, but it does support H7 processor, BMI 270 gyro, plug and play. About my only complaint with this flight controller is it is basically a mainstream flight controller now. However, it is still going to have to use that forked version of Betaflight, which they always use. And my only frustration with my Radix has been at times I've gone to update and the newer update hasn't been done yet. I don't really understand why they would not have that in the standard Betaflight repo now. I don't really get it, why it needs its own custom fork still. If it doesn't have that custom OSD and all of that customization, yeah, I don't really see the reason to have it as a fork. Wes said, wasn't the Pixel OSD thing a big selling point and the main reason you had to run their Betaflight fork? Agreed, Wes, exactly. Therefore now it doesn't have that, and therefore now it still has that fork, and I don't understand it. I would love for this to be in the standard Betaflight builds. Where are they at today? If we go on firmware, they've probably updated. So if we go to Betaflight, that means no beta. There is an analog version as well. There is you still have the analog version, but this is the HD version specifically designed for HD. And as Micah said, American made, which is good. I like it. I would just have rathered now this had gone into the public builds. So if we go to Radix, HD, Betaflight, see, now you're having to do 4.41 Brain 1, you see. So used in regular, that is also, we have decided to adopt the additional hardware low-pass filtering. Yeah, I just think it would have been nice to have it in the standard builds. But again, they're very good flight controllers. I'll be honest, I have a few myself. I've never had a problem with them. I've always been a bit of a fan of them. To be honest, I've not really had a bad flight controller for ages. They're all really good. Will it still do full? Yeah, it doesn't need the analog chip for the full... Canvas mode Betaflight OSD is nothing to do with the chip anymore. So this won't do analog OSD, but it will do canvas mode in whatever digital system you're attaching it to. The Radix is still one of the best for my Cine Lifter builds. Yeah, they're good flight controllers. They are genuinely good flight controllers. Yeah, you don't want F411s. Yeah, no problem at all. If the Hobbywing F7 could do 8 motor outputs, I'd probably just run one of them. Yeah, look, I like Hobbywing. I like Brain FPV. I'll be honest. Hobbywing, Brain FPV, Speedy B, and the Holy Bro ones are very good. Hi, Dave. How are you? They're all very good. Generally, I don't get too many problems on flight controllers. They're generally pretty decent. So, but we have it's available. The Radix, if you want to get it, it is out there. It's not cheap, $109, but American made. American made. So, that's that. From an FPV point of view, that's pretty much it for this week. And as I was saying earlier, I just want to, because my brain got sidetracked by the 3D printing. This DJI thing, there's a video going to be coming, but as far as I'm aware, there is no difference on spectator mode, and we'll talk about that in the upcoming video. But I did just want to clear that up because I've had a load of questions about this, and I don't really understand where these questions had come from. And then I realized it was something JB had said, and I don't know if perhaps JB's been told something I don't know. Perhaps JB has misinterpreted it. Perhaps I'm wrong. I don't know. What I do know is nothing that I've seen in my testing has really shown any difference between the way spectator mode works on the original system and the way spectator mode works on the new system. It's just as garbage as it was before. Now, what's super interesting is what appears to be the new spectator mode on the Avatar system actually looks really good. And I don't know what they're doing, but it looks a lot better than DJI. So we'll look forward to seeing that one as well. Now, whilst I said there hasn't been a lot of FPV news, there is actually two other things I want to talk about. And both of them are to do with iFlight. Now, the first is that iFlight have a new drone. It is a new 3 or 3.5 inch. It is the IH3, which we're going to open up and put here. Now, this is a new updated version of their 3.5 inch with O3 on board. Now, initially, it is easy to look at this and go, Jesus, that's $559. But do take into account that is with an O3 air unit. And you have to take that into account when you are looking at these aircraft now. You are, there's $200+ there of an O3 air unit. That's adding a lot to the price. That is adding a lot to the price. However, super interesting new drone. I do have one on the way. I think it's probably going to be here midweek. Now, I'll be honest, 3.5 inch is about my favorite size quad, period. I do like 3.5 inch quads. I really do like this size. But it's going to be interesting. I haven't seen it. Obviously, I haven't flown it. I should have an Express ELRS edition coming. It does have the O3 air unit on board. It's using the F7 Blitz Mini, the E55. Look, it's got all of the usual iFlight stuff. So it should be a good quad. It should be a good quad. But it's going to be interesting to see how it flies. That arm config is horrible. Yeah, it's a H, isn't it? It's a H. It's part of the bottom frame. I don't think it's going to be a basher, that's for sure, because you're going to be replacing the bottom frame. But it's going to be interesting to see. It should be a nice flying quad. As in, you can strap a GoPro on it. Action 2, I think, will go very nice on this. Now, something else iFlight have also done, and I don't know if they've done this a little bit ahead of time or not, but I'm going to talk about it, and that is they have updated Chris Ross's frames. Now, I don't know. Chris, I think, is probably going to have a video on this, but by the look of it, there's new frames coming from Chris Rosser, and these are an updated version of the AOS 5. They're going to be called the Evo frame, and these frames have been custom designed for the O3 air unit to have isolation. What I mean by isolation is vibration isolation for the camera. Now, Chris originally released his O3 frames specifically designed for the O3 system with hard mounting. There were issues, not really to do with the frame, is simply because of the way the gyro works in the O3 system. So I know iFlight did a version of the frame where they added in isolators, so silicon isolators on the sides, but the problem was they were simply cutting the existing camera mounting pillars, you know, the side plates, and adding in silicon, but it meant it was the same width and there was no silicone isolation at the side of the camera. What Chris has done is gone back and redesigned his frames now for a wider camera plate, which will then have a silicone mount, but also either side of the frame as well. Meaning that the camera will be isolated completely from the frame and not just be on silicone mounts either side of it. Now, iFlight have updated their website, and I believe they are on here now. We're just going to, if we search for AOS, they will probably come up. Here we go. You can see that they've called them the AOS 3.5 Evo, AOS 5 Evo, AOS 7 Evo. So all frames have been upgraded to the Evo naming, but I don't think they've changed the pictures. No, they haven't. That is the original frame as far as I can tell. That is not the new one. When you look at this, and if I zoom in on these side plates, right? Right, so if we go here, let's open this in a new tab. So on these versions, it was the same plate, right? But they cut out and put in this silicon isolator. And this is basically the same silicon isolator that they had for the Nazgul. It's exactly the same. But the problem was still that the frame width at the front, so the camera width, was only 20 mil or whatever it was for the O3 camera. So there was no space down the side for silicon isolation. However, I did post this on Discord earlier. Let me just get Discord working. There is now going to be updated versions. Let me just find it. Here we go. There's pictures on my Discord of this as well. But this is the new version, which has the new isolator, which is a different shape, much larger, but the camera plate is wider as well. So the front camera plate is wider, and it's really hard to see in that image. But if I open that in a browser, you can just see the silicon now goes all around that area there. So the O3 camera is completely isolated and not still in that narrower frame area. So what Chris has had to do is redesign the frames so he could move the plates further out. And I believe it's 23 mil now is what he's done. But yes, so the only, I think, confusing bit on this is you're going to have AOS frames, which were O3 frames, but they really won't be available much longer. And then you're going to have the AOS Evo frames that will have the full isolator. The thing to understand is the iFlight ones had isolators, but iFlight were basically adding a cut into the frame to put it back in. So it's as simple as that. Those soft mounts save the camera too. The camera just gets pushed back. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So that is something you're going to see from Chris. I'll probably order him the AOS 5 myself, the new one. I'll order one of them in, and I'll probably do an O3 build on it. I'd like to convert mine to O3. To be honest, it's a great drone. Great drone. So, yeah, it's as simple as that. Now, if you've got any questions at this point, please do let me know. Please do put them in the chat and I will try and answer them. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about the Inspire 3. Other than I've put a video out. It's very expensive. It's not as expensive as you actually think. It's only actually about $5,700 more than an equivalent Inspire 2 with like-for-like gear. It isn't dramatically more. Whilst it feels it's a lot more, it isn't dramatic. But it's definitely designed for the cine market. I would love to have a play, a test. I say only in cine cameras. The real issue with the Inspire 3 actually isn't that $5,700 more. It's the double the cost of the batteries, because anyone who's going to be setting these up properly is going to probably need 12 sets of packs. And the new TB51s are twice the price, virtually, as the original batteries. So you're talking $700 a pair. So if you wanted an additional 10 packs of batteries, you're talking 5 pairs of batteries, you're talking $10,000. DJI sent me one. Yeah, no. Not happening. But yeah, the new Inspire 3, highly impressive. I think DJI have done. The people who buy these will make their money back on it in the first week. So if we go to the desktop, I think DJI have done a fantastic job overall. And really, it isn't that much more than the Inspire 2 fully kitted out. And as I said, whilst $5,700, I'm not playing... Look, I don't have $5,700 to throw around. What I'm saying is, in the grand scheme of inflation, and when you're spending this money, 5,700 quid isn't that much. But it's got all-round object sensing. I've put a video out on it. I'm not going to go too much in it. The real disappointment for me is that the complete lack of backwards compatibility. But yeah, I think what DJI have done is very, very nice overall. It's just a shame they never finished the Inspire 2 and it never fully worked. But hey, there's an FPV camera on it. There is, and it's a proper one. What's really interesting, actually, is the O3 system on it, because the O3 system can do 2 feeds at the same time, O3 Pro. It can do live feed of 1080p 60. And it can also do live feed of 4K 30 at a much reduced range. It's just, as RC Richards just said, it's just the cost of doing business. A fully kitted out Inspire 3, probably 30k. Yeah, as Louis has just said, this is no longer a drone, but more of an add-on for their pro, semi-pro line of video gadgetry. Yeah, and look, I think DJI are definitely aiming now on a very higher-end market. They're not even selling a lower-end version. If you take into account the Inspire 2, it originally was available with the X4S and the X5. X4 and X5S, I should say. And they gave, like, cheaper options for people. But now this is just, you're going full all out. That's what you're getting. Tough crap. We're not going to offer anything less. And, you know, as I've said, you know, the minimum kit price today is $18,777 off the top of my head, with the Cine license and one lens. And look, for the people it's aimed at, it's chump change. I know there will be people ordering these by the tens. It does come with 3 sets of batteries. Yes, I am aware of that. Yeah, but you still need, you know, I wouldn't be on set and relying with 3 sets. You know, anyone who really wants to set one of these up fully to use daily is going to be spending 30k. That's the real reality here. And look, that again, it's chump change. There'll be people ordering them by the 5s and 10s. Yeah, 25k being min, as Lewis just said. I'm hearing good things as well, but frankly, even for the guys testing it, it's not long enough. it is going to take 2 or 3 months for us to really get the meat on the bones of have they should have nailed the licensing issues down now, because we haven't really seen them on the road in 4D. So that side of things should be fine. There shouldn't be issues with licensing like there was in the Inspire 2. It's then, have they improved the flight stability? I'm not 100%. Looking at some of the footage, I'm seeing stuff. Cinema D&G is not chopped liver. No, not everyone will need the license, but people like ProRes for Resolve and all of the usual stuff. I want to see the stability is the real key on this thing. Have they fixed it? It's going to be fundamental. You know, the Inspire 2 would yaw by literally yaw on its own. It would sit there and rotate. You know, I've got a video on it. It sits there and it just goes, the gimbal goes round in a circle with no one touching anything. I hope they fixed the main stability issues for people. I like 99% of what I've seen. About my only real complaint is two things. They should have still made it compatible with the TB50s, but allowed you to use the new shipped it with TB51s, but said, hey, you're going to have TB50s. Now, I know why they haven't done the TB50s, because they're sagging. Because the new battery can hold up. It's a higher C rating. More weight. The aircraft weighs 555 grams more than the old aircraft. Therefore, it's coming in now at 3,995 grams, literally 5 grams below 4 kilos. They've had to change the batteries because they need more punch. That's why they're not letting the batteries work. At minimum, it would have been great for X7, X5 support. X7 and X5S. If the older cameras could have worked, I think that would have been very helpful for a lot of people. I'm not asking dramatic things here. If they could have kept... There's a lot of people who like the X5 because of MFT. I get everything else. You know, look, it was never going to be compatible with Syndense, although I have a gripe with their marketing on that, but that's different. But in the end, I actually think they've done an incredible job. I actually think it's, without doubt, it's going to be the best drone you can buy today, period. It is going to do things no other drone can do. It's going to be set the standard for cine video, aerial video for the next 5 years, period. It is going to be mind-blowingly good. But that comes at a bitter pill for Inspire 2 owners who never had their aircraft live up to the expectation it could have had. And I'm not saying it's bad. The Inspire 2 is a phenomenal aircraft. I have seen some interesting comments about battery life. People saying, oh, DJI should have done more battery flight time. Physics is hitting DJI here. Weight and flight time, they can't beat the laws of physics. The fact it's getting what it's getting is because of they've managed to improve things, but at the end of the day, it still nearly weighs 4 kilos. You know, if we go down, I do like the look of the new RC Plus. I think it looks really good. I'm not sure what they could have used. The cameras they could have made compatible. There is zero reason they couldn't have made the cameras compatible. Zero reason they couldn't have done that. I get the batteries is what it is. But they could have made the cameras. But look, there's a lot they've really done badly to Inspire 2 users. And look, and this is where you have to be warned. And I don't think Inspire 3 users have to worry about this. But look, let's be realistic here. DJI abandoned this Crystal Sky. The Crystal Sky, in fact, I've had comments this week, and I don't own one, that the map service has expired on it and you can no longer use maps. So DJI sold the Crystal Sky. It wasn't 6 years ago. The Crystal Sky was 5 or 4 years ago. And it was designed for using with the Inspire 2 with the Syndense. The Syndense and Crystal Sky released at the same time. I bought both. I tested both. They abandoned Crystal Sky. Syndense only had a small number of updates. It works fine, but it never lived up to its full potential. The Inspire 2 was never fully fixed. So look, DJI are not in the clear here at all. Not in the clear. What they have done in the past hasn't helped users. And Crystal Sky is the worst. They did abandon that product. And what they've done here with the Inspire 3, they've got this new remote, which I think is fantastic. I think it's going to be nice. I like what I see, but they're not perfect. And, you know, I'm intrigued at what is going to be missing on day one. But look, we'll get all of the ads come out. We'll get the people doing the reviews. They'll tell us how good they think it is. It'll take 3 months for us to really get an idea of the ins and outs. It needs flight time. It needs people to find all of the ins and outs. There are, you know, yeah, I've had messages on Crystal Sky users who are left abandoned now because they can't use them because the map service isn't working anymore, which is just BS on DJI's part. But overall, I think the aircraft is very, very nice. And I would love to have some flight time on it and get back to some proper aerial stuff. M30 is quite insane. The M30 is a spectacular aircraft as well. And I do think they'll get this right, just based on what they've done recently with the M30 and other stuff as well. To be fair to them, I think this will be there. But it doesn't mean you forget the past. That's the thing with it. Now, I did just see a message. GepRC Cinelog 35 version 2. Yes, this looks phenomenal. I would love to try this aircraft. For those who haven't seen, GepRC have released what many say is the best Cinewhoop you can get today. And that was it there. There it is, Cinelog 35 version 2. Now, this is an 03 based quad, but you can... Oh, sorry, that's not the right one. What is this taking me on to? 35, there we go. It is available with 03. It's available with Avatar. It's available with the standard FPV system, and it's available with analog. Now, I have to say, I think this is a fantastic looking aircraft. And I am seriously tempted to order one in. I did send GepRC an email, but they never responded to my email. So I would love to take this for a spin. It looks fantastic. Now, what they've got is this new isolation for the 03 camera. So you've got it there. So it's suspending the 03 camera to help with vibration. And it's actually suspending it on those plates there, which is good. And then you've got a vibration isolated top plate as well. Fly out to Florida, yeah. Yeah, lol, GepRC don't respond to emails. Oh, that's great. It's like that, is it? But I have to say, overall, I think it's good. Although, I think they could have done better here. That looks bloody awkward. That looks as awkward as the Avatar, if I'm honest. Look where that USB port is. Again, by the motor. They do show it with a little GPS. But overall, it does look okay. I think it's a very nice looking aircraft. Indeed. And I'd love to give it a try. But yeah, that's been released as well. I don't know. Ken will get his... I don't know if Ken Dobo's going to order an Inspire 3. Ken probably will. GPS in a pod with 2 RF systems. USB by the motor. Can't fly it. Plug it in then. Yeah, it's always different. Like the Avata position is horrific. DJI could have done better on that. I just don't understand why they thought that was okay to put it there. They just look at what iFlight did with the Defender 25. They put a USB on a cable and put it at the back. Who would have thought? Same. Ken will probably get one. Ken will probably get an Inspire 3. Ken's doing a lot of real estate work at the moment, so that. Right, guys. Before we wrap this one up, we're gonna have a bit of Q&A. If there's any questions, please do put them in the comment section now, and I will try and answer them. I'm okay with USB position if it's under 10 grand. Yeah, it's not Inspire 3 money. And I will say this about the Inspire 3. There's a lot of people whinging about price. I don't really have a problem with the price. I have a problem with the amount of money. Recommended sub 250 freestyle bind and fly. Can't think of... The new iFlight would be interesting to see. I really like the Emax 3.5-inch quads. They're really good. They're really good. Hi, sorry for my little question, but do I think the ham file will work with the Goggles Integra? Yes, it does. I have already confirmed it. I actually stated it in my review. What would I choose? Mini 3 Pro or Air 2S? I would go with the Air 2S 1-inch sensor. The DJI 1-inch sensor has always been phenomenal. The 1-inch sensor has always been phenomenal. I'd go with that. Bit of extra weight and stability helps as well. Bigger aircraft. Funny enough, I got my Mavic 2 Pro out yesterday just to have a look. Have I heard about the new Bambu? No, I've only just got that one. Mini 3 Pro with SDK support is the best thing they've done, and no support for the SDK in the Inspire 3. No, not yet. Can I use linear or UFL in my Whoop with right-hand circuit polarizer on my goggles? Yeah, you get some loss, but it's a Whoop. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. People overthink antennas. Unless you're flying 10 miles, don't worry about it. That'll be fine, Christopher Taylor. It will be fine. Got anything on the Mavic 3 Pro? No. I don't know anything on it other than it's got 3 cameras. Not sure why. Sort of get it why. They're going to go for 3 different focal lengths. I'm not sure why DJI have gone down this 3 road. Because, look, it wasn't great on the Mavic 3. I think they're a bit confused on the market they're trying to sell that drone to. Because everything I've seen so far on these ones is the other lens is just too compromised. Those zooms... Okay, so if we take a Mavic 3 Pro and you're a wedding photographer, so you want the different focal lengths to be able to, say, film a nice wide shot of the wedding party, but then coming close to the bride and groom without physically having to come in close. Those lenses have to look the same. The image quality has to be the same. And this was the fundamental problem with the Mavic 3, was that it wasn't. It was dramatically worse on that smaller sensor. If they packed in 3 MFT sensors, then I get it. But it doesn't work when they're not. It needs to be the same everything. Color profile, the whole lot needs to be the same. The Mavic 3 Pro is not a drone for search and rescue. It's not a drone really for inspection. It can be used for it, and people are using it for it. But really, it needs to become a semi-cine drone for the people who are no longer going to be buying Inspire 3s because DJI have priced it out of their market. Because the old time, you could go and buy an Inspire 2 and the X5S and you'd be sorted. So, I don't know. I think... See, they released this Inspire, the Cine one, and it just didn't work. The second camera was pointless. Complete and utter pointless. So they've either got to get it right now, or again, they've made a compromised product. They over-compromised it before, and now let's see if it's any better again. So that's where I'm at on it. If they're selling it as an inspection drone, I think that, okay, great. But where they messed up on the Mavic 3 before was the Cine model, which had the ProRes, which had all of that high-end stuff, which was great, but you couldn't use it. 2 color profiles, that what you said. I get it. It is 100%. But the problem is, Lon, is then they need to look at it differently and make one camera with interchangeable lenses on a small drone. I still think DJI would do very well, and I've always said this, with a larger Mavic with interchangeable lenses. I'm not saying MFT, make them DJI's own ones, but interchangeable lenses. The big problem is 3 sensor size. Yeah, look, I know the physics problem of what they're trying to do, but they're still trying to do it. And that's what my gripe is. So again, now they're going to add in a third one that people haven't asked for. We're on the point of a smartphone where it's got 3 bloody cameras. Look, the long-range camera on this iPhone is shocking. It's crap on the iPhone 14. It's just crap. Or 13, I think mine is. Northeast, no. South Wales. Right, catching back up chat. Let me just catch up there. They are following the smartphone market. Yeah, that's the bloody problem. And even that doesn't work either. Try the Cinemog Pro. Stevie, I recommend you try the Cinelog 35 Pro V1 or V2 because it surprised me, especially flown long flight time considering it's 6S. Yeah, nice. Been meaning to ask this, but oh no, the Northern Twag, I got that. Rescue mode, but like 4.4 does not work very well. Once he flew, once he fell. Mine's worked. I've not had any problems with it. Yeah, 100%. Stop messing. Just put one sensor. And put an optical zoom or fixed lenses. Look, fixed interchangeable lenses. Make small ones. People will love it. Look, people want the zoom to be able to look at, say cinematographers. But hey, look, DJI don't listen to people, unfortunately. They don't listen to common sense at times, put it that way. Hello, Curry Kitchen. How are you? Yeah, DJI, the one thing it does feel like with DJI in recent times is a lot of what they've been doing feels more surveillance than cine. Not with the Inspire 3. Yeah, we all know where that is, but everything else. But hey, DJI. If they actually answered an email or responded at times, it would be nice. Yeah, I know, Curry. Today was meant to be good. I've been away myself. I've been down the south of the country. I've been down to Poole and down that way. And the weather was very up and down. And I thought today was going to be okay. And it's crap. I haven't been out the door today. I haven't been out the door. One thing I'll say, Lon, is I don't think we're going to see a Mavic 4 anytime soon with this Pro around the corner, are we? It's at least another, what, probably 8 months? Yeah, the weather today was poop-poop. Very poop-poop. I think he called me a Scot. Well impressed with the speed of the new printer. It is phenomenal. It is phenomenal. And obviously with that printer, look, there will be a review of the printer coming in the near future. Obviously, I need a bit of time with it. So far, Hollywood M1 sale price is 119 over the 200 quid road. The road is better beyond reality. The road is better. The Lark M1 is good enough. It is very hot, though, the Holylander. I have found you might need to back it down. What I don't like about the Holylander is it resets the volume every time, so I always end up having to turn the volume down before using it and remembering to do it. That's a cool thing, Curry. Colourful font in Goggle 2. Yeah, maybe. We'll have to wait and see what the Betaflight team can get out of DJI. They're the only ones who are talking to them. Do I think electronics are more reliable and not burn up? So you're talking about in crashes and not going up. I think things have definitely got better. I do think things have got better. We don't see as much catastrophic failure, although I've seen some pretty bad ESCs burn out in the last couple of days on Facebook. You see them completely incinerate themselves. But I do think overall the quality of electronics and FPV is improved. Like blow up when turtle mode. Yeah, crap like that seems to be going away. Definitely. Definitely seems to be getting better. You can always fly closer. Yeah, there's the truth. Yeah, normally you just want like a bit. You don't want a lot of zoom. You just want enough that you don't have to put an Inspire in the bride's face. You know, you don't want 40 mil. You know, really what you need is like, ideally you want like 12. Something like 12. You want a nice wide. A nice wide, 12 or 14. And then 26, 28, something like that. That's it. Get me 14 to 28. I honestly, I think that would probably be what everyone would be happy with. Yeah. You you want a nice wide so you can get everyone in without having to fly over that house that the guy's going to kick off about. And you want to be able to come in tight enough that you can, do a bit of not close-up work, but you can get in tighter. 40 mil on the fly-in, 40 mil on a. I've flown 40 mil on the Inspires. I've flown 300 mil on the Inspire, but 40 mil, it starts getting challenging then. Did I see Blue Jay Dynamics PWM beta? No, I did not. Yeah, that's the thing, innit? It's not, you know, what people want isn't rocket science, but we need to separate off the one versus the other. So. No, agree, Louis. Agree. Okay, guys. If there is no more questions, I'm going to call it there tonight. I want to thank you all for spending some time with me. Sorry I was late starting. That was a timing error on the clock. Things should be back to normal this week. I've got that new iFlight quad coming in this week, so I want to take a look at that. And there is some interesting stuff coming in as well around the corner too, and we've been talking about that. And then I've got a lot more testing to do on that bad boy over there. Now, before we go, I just want to say, if you have found the stream useful, please do make sure you give it a like. I do have a Patreon if you want to support the channel as well. I didn't shill this enough. There's no sponsors here. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. There's no sponsors on this channel. We don't do sponsors. I think Bardwell's got I heard rumor Bardwell's got a sponsor on next week's live. I wonder who it is. Kinky Boots or something like that. Wes, send me a message. I want to speak to you about something. Something like this, I think, Bardwell's. There's no sponsors on this channel, just a Patreon, which is supported by you fantastic people. I did, genuinely, let's finish this one up before I go. I did think about, okay, so the Inspire 3 is going to be something which I think I would love to make the content for that nobody else does. And I did think, look, is there a way I could make it happen, you know, and just sort of go to the community and say, right, here's a quite a choice. Do you want me to make content on this? If you do, here's a GoFundMe. And I did the math. You can't even do the math on that on a GoFundMe. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't. You couldn't, the amount of donations you'd need, it's that dear now. The amount of donations you'd need, it would be insane. Rent it. I think they'd struggle. The problem is, Sean, the kind of content I make, I'm not sure they'd be that keen on renting it to me on when I take it apart. I would love to buy one and tear it down piece for piece. And I did think of, like, you know, look, because this is beyond what Patreon and everything could do. And I was thinking, like, you know, could we do so? And I did the math on GoFundMe and just went, it's never going to happen. It's the price of a family car. It's just not going to happen. So, yeah, I'd love to do a review, but that's not my expert. Look, don't get me wrong. I've done a lot of commercial work in the past. I don't do it now at all. I've not done anything for a couple of years. I'm still a registered commercial operator, but I've not done any commercial work for 2-3 years now. But I would still love to put it through its paces. I bet you I could find 5 problems no one else has. I'd either find them or create them. I'm good at finding problems with things. That tends to be my expertise, is finding issues with something. But yeah, I would like to put it through its paces. But genuinely, I think they've done a great job. As much as I hate to say it, they did a good job. Tell you what I am trying to do. I'm trying to find a cheap Inspire 1 or Inspire 2. I want to acro mode an Inspire 1 or Inspire 2. Ideally an Inspire 2. I want to acro mode an Inspire 2. I want to get one, rip the flight controller out, put in beta flight, and I want to acro it. But I need it to be cheap. I would love to acro an Inspire. It's got to be doable. You're going to power loop an Inspire is what I want you to do. Can I take a broken unit? As long as I can make it fly, as long as I get a flight controller in it, power loop and Inspire. My only worry is the props would probably break. The DJI ones, you'd probably have to. I have got carbon fiber ones here in mind. I would love to power loop, but no. Anyway, that's the end of the stream. Let me find the button. Look after yourselves, everyone. Stay safe. Thank you for spending some time with me. Please do check out the links to my Patreon as well as buy me a coffee in the description. Also, don't forget, I got a Discord server as well. Look after yourselves. I'll speak to you soon.